Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are making the most requested video on the channel. And with this video, we will celebrate our 3rd anniversary. Can you believe it? It's already been 3 years with this channel. So let's continue with Iceland, today's video. Hello Duck Adventures, welcome to EveTripsBBB, where we explore the world together with our beloved Pato, the adventure duck. Find the full itinerary for free on Google Maps in the description. Subscribe and join us on this exciting duck adventure. This has been the most difficult itinerary I have ever had to put together. I still don't know if it was because of the names. We managed to do it. And here are all the secrets to make the absolute most out of this trip. Day 1. So, we left Boston and slept on the plane, arriving in Iceland around 5 in the morning. The airport is small, but it has some interesting spots where you can take a few photos. And the first thing we wanted to do when we arrived was pick up the car, obviously, to start this great adventure. And that's where our first chaotic mishap began. So we stood there waiting and asking where to pick up the car. It turned out that someone was supposed to pick us up and take us to where the car was. And guess what? Guess. Yep, the person never showed up. We asked everywhere. People said, just stay there. They'll come pick you up. Let's remember that in Iceland, English isn't the native language, so not everyone understood what we needed. They are a bit reserved, so asking someone to lend us their phone to call the company was a little uncomfortable. But wait, Eve, didn't it occur to you to get a data plan when you traveled? Obviously, yes, we had an unlimited data plan, but it didn't include calls within Iceland. So my friend, I don't know how, but she always comes up with great ideas. She honestly has incredible creativity. She thought of calling her best friend who was in Europe so she could call the local office here until they answered and could schedule our pickup. So Paulina, thank you so much because you saved the day. After almost 2 hours, I think, they picked us up and yeah, the staff there was very friendly. We were finally able to pick up the van, and from there we went grocery shopping because our plan was to save as much as possible, not eat out, cook our own meals, and well, off we went to get groceries. And well, truth be told, you have to understand that this country is in the middle of nowhere and they don't have a lot of access. There are basic things you'd think you would find, but honestly, there is very, very little. From there, we went to have breakfast, and it was one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. It was truly delicious. And well, time to hit the road. Starting out, we honestly had a very, very beautiful experience. Not only did we get to see a full rainbow from end to end, but we also had the chance to see 2 rainbows back to back. Have you ever seen 2 rainbows back to back? Wow, this is incredible. Well, even though our flight arrived in, you'll have to forgive my pronunciation. But guys, honestly, the language is a bit complex. Reykjavik, our idea was to start our trip at the Golden Circle. And our first stop was going to be at Thingvellir National Park. Here you will find the famous tectonic plates with rocky cliffs and fissures, like the massive Almannagjá Fault. I, for one, didn't know I was in that exact spot because I had confused it with the place I would visit the next day. There are diving plans and everything, but here you can literally walk right between them. So what is this place all about? Well, this is where the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart by about 2 centimeters per year. In other words, you can literally walk through a crack between 2 continents. Don't you find that amazing? The rock walls you see on both sides are the edges of the plates. At that moment, I didn't even realize exactly where I was standing, because I had confused it with the place I was going to visit the next day. Well, there is also another tourist activity that allows you to scuba dive or snorkel between 2 tectonic plates, and the water is so pure that you can drink it, as this fissure fills with crystal clear glacial water filtered through the lava. This place isn't just about nature, it's the heart of Icelandic culture. In 930 AD, the Vikings founded the Althing here, their national assembly. They chose this location because the geography of the rocks helped the speakers' voices resonate, so everyone could hear the laws. It is considered the oldest active parliament in the world. Well, and if it looks a bit familiar to you, several productions, including Game of Thrones, were filmed here. Well, and what should you keep in mind? The weather is quite variable. It can be raining, then the sun comes out, and everything changes from one moment to the next. So go prepared, because it does get pretty chilly. I thought this place was nice, but it didn't really blow me away. I think if I had known what I just told you earlier, I would have appreciated this stop much more. But since I live in New Hampshire, I'm surrounded by a lot of nature here. So to me, this place felt very similar to where I live. These are some of the stops. I'll leave them here in the video that you can find along the walk. You can't miss them. Honestly, they are right there. After that, we headed to the Carrot Crater. It's a quick stop. It's pretty, but it's not the kind of place where you stay for hours, you know? You just take your photo, appreciate the scenery, and boom, on to the next stop. So from there, we continued toward the Haukadalur geothermal area, which is, in short, where the geysers are. Well, once there, we walked around, and it was actually the first time my friend had seen geysers, so she thought they were really cool. I had already seen the ones in Yellowstone, which are out of this world. Do you want me to make a video about that trip? Let me know in the comments. Well, we decided to camp around that area since we were already tired. To camp with the van, we were going to sleep in the van. You don't need to make a reservation. They don't accept reservations, so you just go to the site and say, "Hey, I need a place to park the van," and that's all it takes. They are usually open from certain hours to certain hours, but often you arrive after hours and just pay them the next day. They are very flexible in that regard. Ideally, you should arrive earlier, but it's no big deal if you don't. So, what's the deal? Well, the showers are a bit restricted. They only open from a certain time to a certain time, so you really have to keep an eye on that. You do have to pay for the showers. Here, I'm showing you what the van looked like so you can get an idea of what kind of amenities you get when you rent one. This is honestly geared toward, well, smaller people. For cooking, they give you a little stove, and I think they provided the gas canister to fill it. And something you must keep in mind, which I didn't know before going, is that it doesn't get dark. I went there in search of my northern lights, and my friend was like, "Hey, Evelyn, it's 24 hours of daylight over there." And I was like, "No, my northern lights." So yeah, and the chaotic mishaps weren't over yet. In this video, you won't see anything recorded with my GoPro, the memory card, at home. Day 2. For day 2, we woke up at 5 in the morning to kick off the day. A lot of people sleep during the day and sightsee at night, which is cool because you avoid all the lines and the crowds. The place is practically yours. But if you decide to go with that alternative, it's going to be very noisy around you when you try to sleep. Now we arrived at Gullfoss Falls. And now, yes, wow. No, this one completely left my jaw on the floor. This was the place I originally thought was the tectonic plates. No, this is magnificent. This is completely mesmerizing. I don't even know how to explain it. This water comes from the second largest glacier in Iceland, and it's a favorite spot for many tourists. I don't even know how to describe it to you guys. This place is so massive. The energy there is so amazing. It is just so beautiful. This place is so incredibly beautiful. Honestly, I was spellbound. And since we arrived so early, there was hardly anyone else there. So we were able to take tons of photos, walk around, and really take our time to appreciate every single corner of this wonder. After that, we headed to our next stop. I'll leave the names of all 3 right here in the video. But it turns out that when they give you the rental car, it comes with a lot of restrictions. And one of those is not driving it on unpaved roads. We weren't entirely sure if it was allowed or not. And we felt a bit wary about driving the car in there because we saw that other people, we saw a car that was heading in and the driver immediately adjusted the tires and was getting prepared. And he told us, if you're going in there, drive very slowly. And we decided to turn back. From there, we headed to Seljalandsfoss. Well guys, this is a waterfall with a 60-meter drop that originates from the volcano's glacier. It's immense. It's just too big. Look at how small the people look next to it. Imagine how it felt to stand right beside that waterfall. I mean, you felt so tiny. I'm already short, so yeah, I felt like a total pinhead standing there. It's truly impressive. It's impressive, it's beautiful, and you can also walk behind it. Mind you, there are a lot of people, but the line keeps moving. In Iceland, you have to pay for most parking lots. They aren't that expensive, honestly, but paying so frequently and for such a short amount of time makes the total add up bit by bit. So here we paid for our first parking of the day. Along the way, we saw this house called the Drangslid Caves. It wasn't on our itinerary, but we stopped to check it out. So that was parking number 2 for, I don't know, I don't think we spent more than 20 minutes there. It was an interesting place. It made me really curious to see what a cave was like in such ancient times, you know. That was how people used to shelter themselves. And I found it very powerful to be there at that moment, to sort of live that experience. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but it felt incredible to have that trip back in time and think, wow, this is how our ancestors lived, right? Very, very interesting. Well, from there, we headed to Skogafoss. Forgive my pronunciation. Honestly, I have no idea how to pronounce these things, but you already know I always share the itinerary or leave the sign right here in the video. After visiting Seljalandsfoss and Gullfoss Falls, do you feel like the adrenaline dropped a bit here? We did the hike, went all the way to the top, and you can see the waterfall from above. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's where you can find the Fimmvörðuháls trail. We didn't actually do that path. I think there's another little waterfall right there, which is that one. And here, at this location, we paid for parking number 3. From there, we headed to a place I had been looking forward to with so much anticipation. But before talking about that place, the winds in Iceland can be extremely strong. And one of the recommendations they gave us when we picked up the car was to always make sure to hold onto the car door. It is so easy to forget. It happened to me about once or twice where I forgot to hold it, and honestly, it really scared me. The winds are so powerful that they can literally rip the door right off. So it is very, very important that you always make sure to hold the door firmly when getting out. Well, and finally, we arrived at one of the places I wanted to visit so much, which was Dyrhólaey. So, what was so special about it? Well, here we can enjoy a beautiful view and a lighthouse, but this is also where you find the puffins. Oh, they are beautiful. I absolutely love them. They are super cute. Like I said, I love seeing animals in their natural habitat, and they are just adorable. I don't know. I fell in love with them. They looked like they were straight out of a comic book. They are just so pretty, so adorable with their little faces and their eyes. Oh, I don't know. Here are some photos, and this is where we paid for parking number 4. From here, we headed to Reynisfjara Beach. You have to pay for parking there as well. Honestly, I didn't have very high expectations for the place. As the name suggests, it's a black sand beach, but I don't know, once you're there, it is so intimidating. The waves are immense. I had never seen waves that big in my entire life, not even when I went to Puerto Rico. If you want me to make a video about Puerto Rico, let me know in the comments. People say that in the United States, everything is giant. The Coca-Colas are giant. The coffees are giant. But honestly, I think Iceland takes the crown. Everything there is giant. The waves are giant. The waterfalls are giant. Basically, you can see here in the video that everything is immense and beautiful. From there, you walk a little bit toward a cave where some tourists climb onto the rocks, tempting fate. Well, and that was the last parking fee of the day, so multiply the parking costs of around $7 to $8 by the number of days you're going to be there, and sometimes you're only there for a few minutes, so it definitely gets a bit pricey, right? From there, we went to gas up. And it's important to know that inside the gas stations, there is a huge variety of food and good food at that and other items. But pumping gas is a whole ordeal. We found gas stations that only accept debit cards, and you don't always know how much it's going to cost to fill up. Sometimes you go over budget, sometimes you don't. So you basically have to guess. This was our first time pumping gas, so we just left it to luck. And to make matters worse, the gas station pump was in another language. Trying to switch it to a language you actually understand isn't that easy either, so it always gets a bit confusing. The important thing to know is that not all gas stations accept debit cards. There are some that accept credit cards. We were absolutely starving, so we looked for a place to stay and found a restaurant. And the food, guys, oh, it was delicious. Extremely delicious. I highly recommend making a stop and eating at a restaurant in Iceland. Honestly, the food is incredibly well seasoned. From there, we were super tired. We couldn't take it anymore. But we had tickets for the lava show. It's interesting. Yeah, honestly, I had higher expectations, but let's be fair. I am very demanding, and truth be told, bringing real lava right to you is quite a feat, isn't it? So it's definitely something to admire, appreciate, and respect. Day 3. From there, we went in search of the glaciers. I didn't have very high expectations because I thought, well, we aren't going deep into them, we're just going to stick to the main paths. So, we started our walk in the Skaftafell Glacier area and did a simple hike. Honestly, I love hiking and I enjoyed it so much. The view was breathtaking because you had that view of the snowy mountain, but everything around you was so green. I absolutely loved that walk. You make a few stops at the waterfalls. The view is spectacular, but the coffee there, I definitely do not recommend it. No, not at all. And from there, we headed to Diamond Beach. This was definitely my favorite place. I mean, yes, well, no, it's just that Iceland is so beautiful that it's so hard to decide what I loved the most, but I truly fell in love with this place. There are several beaches like this, and it really looks like a beach made of diamonds. Ice formations, both small and large, and sometimes massive, wash up on different parts of the beach. And you can see here in the video how it looks. When I used to look at photos, I wasn't entirely convinced. But once you are actually standing there, you're just left thinking, wow. But there is another spot where you can see the glacier itself, and that place is, there are no words to describe it. It's simply breathtaking, beautiful. It's just wow. We even managed to see, I'm not sure if they were seals, but I think they were seals. Yes, seals. I think that's what they were, and it's beautiful. There is a tour that takes you deeper into the glaciers. We didn't take it, but it looks very nice. The good thing about it is that the parking fee you pay there covers all the little beaches around. So you don't have to pay for parking at every single beach. It gets very crowded, so finding a parking spot can be a bit tricky sometimes, and we didn't want to stop at all of them. We had already captured the essence of it, enjoyed it to the fullest, and wanted to continue our journey. Something I found very strange was that the steering wheel of the van was incredibly soft. I don't know, it was very weird. I kept turning it, but the vehicle wouldn't steer at the speed I expected it to handle. So, during one of those moments, I was making a turn and trying to straighten the van out, but it wasn't straightening up, and the van was literally heading straight toward a house car. My friend, I don't know how she managed to stay so calm. Instead of screaming or panicking, she was just like, Evelyn, Evelyn, and I would look at her and laugh, but it was purely out of nerves because I kept turning the wheel and nothing was happening. She was just repeating, Evelyn, Evelyn, and I would look at her, laugh, and keep spinning the wheel. I don't even know how we managed or how I did it, but I pulled the van out of it and the vehicle finally turned. But honestly, we were heading straight for a crash. So, as you can see, this trip was full of crazy mishaps. And look at this, completely clear over here, and a storm right over there. It's quite noticeable, isn't it? From there, we took the ferry to Jaime Island. We found some nice accommodations, and it was finally time to rest. Day 4, well, Jaime is a lovely little town. It's a small island, and it's beautiful. Over there, we did see many sheep, and we set off to see the puffins. Honestly, there are so many of them. You get to see them super close up. I spent a ton of time there taking photos and just admiring them because I absolutely love them. Now, there is a chance that you could accidentally hit a puffin. In the late summer nights, the fledglings or pufflings leave their nests to head to the sea, guiding themselves by the moonlight. However, the headlights from cars and the town lights catch their attention, confusing them and causing them to go off course. That's when accidents can happen. If that occurs, notify the police about the incident. Hunting them is strictly forbidden, so be very careful with that. It's best not to keep them. It's much better to notify someone if something happens. They will take care of guiding the puffin or tell you what to do. I think someone told me that once they had to release one from a boat or something like that. It is also very common for the local children to carry boxes to rescue them and then release them into the sea the next day. From there, we headed to the Eldfell volcano and started the hike. But the wind was blowing incredibly hard, So we decided to turn around and head back. We weren't going to risk it, so we missed out on seeing the volcano. But safety comes first, always. After that, we went to the Viking village, but we didn't go inside the museum. Honestly, it didn't really catch our attention. In that little Viking village, there is a small park where you can take photos and everything, and we decided to walk in search of a simple, very easy hike to see Elephant Rock. It's a rock formation that looks just like an elephant. Here are the photos. I saw it. Do you see it? Let me know in the comments. From there, we went to Sprangan, where you can take a photo while rope climbing. Don't ask me how, but honestly, it was just for the photo and my friend ended up flying through the air. I just watched her float, and to be honest, I don't even know what happened there. She was bumping against the rocks. But well, she is very brave and she didn't get hurt. It was really funny, but make sure to be careful anyway. There wasn't much left to do there, so we went to the ferry office to see if they could move our return trip to an earlier time. They are very nice people, so they told us that if anyone canceled or if they had space, they would gladly do us the favor. And yes, they did us the favor of moving us to an earlier departure. So we grabbed a bite to eat while waiting for the time to head back to the mainland. Once there, we visited Hallgrímskirkja, which features a very interesting architecture. We went up to the observation deck and walked around the city center. The shops are lovely and the houses around there are very pretty. Honestly, you can easily spend hours taking tons of photos. We also went to the Rainbow Street, and as you can imagine, a lot of people want to take photos there, so it's really just a matter of patience. Day 5. From there, we booked a reservation for the very first slot in the morning to visit the Blue Lagoon. Arriving at the location felt a bit strange, very industrial looking, like a factory area, and quite isolated. Honestly, we didn't find it that pretty at first. It didn't look like much from the outside, but once you step inside, everything is fancy and very chic. Now, people had told us that you had to shower completely naked in front of everyone. That was what I had understood from others. I don't know if things have changed from the time they visited to when we went, but honestly, and I don't know if it was because of the early hour we chose, I was easily able to use a private shower stall with a closed door without any issues whatsoever, and nobody ever said a word to me. I didn't have to pay extra for it or anything. It's interesting because they have different stations featuring a sauna and those types of amenities where you can stop and spend some time. Then you move on to another station with a small pool and another one with little waterfalls. I think there are about 7 or 9 stations in total, and each one offers something unique. It also includes complimentary face masks. I thought the water was going to be a bit hotter, but honestly, it was more on the lukewarm side, I would say. From there, we headed to Harpa. We went inside, browsed around, and a quick shout out to Camilo and Luisa from Colombia, whose post we found in Iceland. I wonder if Camilo and Luisa will ever find us on this channel. Probably not, but anyway, greetings to them. After that, we headed to the airport, and someone had recommended that my friend try the Icelandic hot dog. But come on, let's look at the facts. We come from the United States, where the hot dog is one of the staple foods, and we are from Colombia, where the absolute best hot dogs in the world are made. Let's be real. So, what could possibly be so special about an Icelandic hot dog? I mean, look at the photo, but honestly, it is really delicious. It's very tasty and very interesting. I haven't told you guys about the final chaotic mishap. During the trip, my phone randomly turned off out of nowhere. I mean, literally, it just completely stopped working. Everything was on there, the itinerary, my email, the tickets, everything. So for a while, we were left without a phone. My friend didn't have access to the information, and for security reasons, I have multi-step verification set up to access my accounts, so we were completely locked out. Then, out of nowhere, it would turn back on. That happened about 2 or 3 times, you know? So, it's always a really good idea to send everything to the other person so they have a backup of all the info. Because let's face it, no one is immune to their phone breaking or getting wet. For instance, we met someone who actually lost their phone inside the Blue Lagoon. So, there's a little tip for you to keep in mind. We got lucky that everything started working again after a while. But hey, a trip without a chaotic mishap isn't a real trip. And you know what's really weird? Once I got back to the United States, it happened to me just one more time and never again. So, yeah, just things that are meant to happen to you.
This duck adventure comes to an end. But don't worry, more incredible destinations await us soon. Remember, the itinerary is in the video description. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and share so more duck adventures can enjoy these journeys. Until next time, bye!